Hi, my name is Loren Locke. I'm an immigration attorney in Atlanta, and I'm talking about how to build evidence for your EB1 or your NIW case about your award, your membership, or your participation as a judge. When you are preparing this stuff for your own self-filing or you are working with an attorney, keep in mind that USCIS is only going to look at something that prints out the size of a standard piece of paper, 8.5 by 11 inches, in a black and white version. If you have videos or you have gigantic spreadsheets or you have any other kind of evidence, think about how to make it look the best it can printed out on a piece of paper. There are not going to be sound files. They will not look at a website. They will not seek out background information to understand. So you can say, hey, I'm a board member of the prestigious ABC Society. It is your job to lay it out, prove that you're a member when, the invitation email or the application process should prove what membership requires. Oh, we had to get through this exam. We had to get through this interview. There was a voting process, whatever. Some information about the organization, what it's for, how it's related to your work, and some sort of evidence of the duration of your membership. So that could be, a lot of organizations, they'll give you a membership card or you have a certificate, or they'll generate a letter from their organization that confirms the dates of your membership, the level of your membership. The more you can package this up and make it look good and hand it to your attorney in a nice, organized way, the more of it's going to make its way into your filing and the faster your filing is going to get done. You're paying your attorney for their time, and they can spend their time on your case in ways that are going to really improve the quality, that take their attorney knowledge. I can't tell you how much time I've spent, reformatting and jiggering with people's evidence just to make it look good on a printed out piece of paper. It needs to be legible. If it's not legible, it's not going to be powerful. I like every piece of paper in the filing to concretely help my case. So if there's some internet article and it's 2 pages long, and then there's 6 more pages of blank junk after the article in the PDF, take those pages off. Only use the 2 pages that actually have content. Don't highlight, because that can mess up the scanners. When USCIS receives your petition, they scan it in. Highlighting can show as a redaction. So if you have a part that you really want them to notice, put a circle around it on your PDF, or an arrow works too. I think paginating your exhibits can be really good. Really help make it very easy for USCIS to understand what they're looking at. In your exhibit list, give it a name that's very clear what it is and why it's in there. I used to categorize my exhibits by which criterion I thought they were best for. I have turned away from that practice, and the reason is because I don't want USCIS to look at my exhibit list and say, oh, well, there are only 2 or 3 pieces of evidence under that criterion, so I'm going to question that one in an RFE. A lot of pieces of evidence actually can work toward multiple categories, so don't want USCIS to make that assumption that, which I guess if you put it in a category on your exhibit list, you're sort of telling them, look at it as a piece of evidence under this category only. You don't want to tell them that. You want to give the piece of evidence a nice, clear name, lead them to the answer you want them to get. Why is that piece of paper in there? Every piece of paper in your filing should have a purpose. And there is a point where more is not better. There is a very limited amount of time for your adjudicator to read your petition, and they don't need it to be 1,000 pages. 500 pages, they're not going to have time to read that. So if you give them 500 pages, fine, they'll take it. They're not going to read it. And so you got to make sure, have you really done your best to get your story across on every page of that filing? And they're going to come away with a good impression, even if they're just sort of skipping around and drilling in on random pages. that you don't choose. A smaller filing that is more carefully done can be a lot more effective than a large filing where you throw every possible thing in. Make it easy for them to make a decision based on what's in front of them without them needing to do any research or even exercise too much critical thinking. You just want to lay it out nice and easy. If you have video evidence, you can do screenshots, you can do transcript. There's so many ways to show them. If you're trying to say, hey, I was interviewed on a podcast and it was listened to, what podcast, who's the listenership, how many times was it downloaded? What did you talk about? How important and impressive was the person who interviewed you? All of these things you can put in there and make it much more powerful. It's also really helpful if you can help your lawyer understand when you transmit evidence, why are you giving it to them? What does it show? If this was the podcast where you talked about some accomplishment you had, don't expect that your lawyer is going to listen to every podcast that you've been on and that they're going to understand and have the takeaways about, this is what proves your extraordinary ability. You need to spell it out and say, hey, I was invited to this one because it had just been announced that my company did blah, 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 and I had this role in it. Spell it out. The more your attorney understands, the more it's going to come through on your filing, and the better chance USCIS is going to come away impressed and they're going to give you an approval. Good luck.